Hi, my name is Amber, I'm 26 years old and I was born with a condition called TOF.
Hello, I'm Sean. I was born with a Tracheo-Oesophageal Fistula. This means I had a connection from my esophagus to my trachea instead of down into my stomach.
Hi, my name's Heather.
Hi, I'm Fiona and I was born with OA TOF.
Hello, my name's Olivia. Health issues I had at birth were Tracheo-Oesophageal Fistula, Oesophageal Atresia, laryngeal cleft type 2, and butterfly vertebrae, and I was fed by a gastrostomy tube until I was 3 years old.
Hi, I'm Scott. I was born essentially with esophageal atresia. I was diagnosed VACTERL with other anomalies on top of that.
Hello, my name is Kate. I was born in 1957 with esophageal atresia and tracheoesophageal fistula and other congenital malformations.
So my stomach was brought up to meet the part of the esophagus I had, and which left me with a small pouch just behind my right shoulder blade. This obviously makes dieting slightly difficult, having such a small stomach, and it also leads to something called dumping syndrome. So if I do eat a large portion, instead of it sitting in the stomach and digesting as it normally would, it goes straight through down into the bowels, which causes immense cramping, diarrhea, and it's just not very comfortable. I also have some of the VACTERL symptoms. So I have a slight curvature in my spine. I was born with something called a imperforate anus, so I was born with it closed instead of obviously where the opening normally would be. And I was also born with a few bladder issues.
I have medication that I take every day. I have to be careful with my swallowing and avoid certain foods. Dilatations and scopes every 3 years, and lifelong sleeping raised so I don't aspirate.
The TOF issues are things that I have always just lived with, being careful with what I eat. I've had to stop drinking alcohol. It's actually been a year since I had a single drop of alcohol. Very proud of myself for that one. Because of reflux and painful stomach and things like that.
When I was 21, I had my first stretch done because my esophagus had closed. And that in itself, they said, was quite strange to have my first one at the age of 21. They said it's normally something that would happen earlier on. Then last year, I woke up with extreme chest pain. I had a temperature, couldn't breathe properly. The pain was excruciating, and an ambulance was phoned and I got taken into hospital, and after multiple checks, a very long day in hospital, they came back with severe acid reflux. Pain felt like I was what I expect to be the pain of a heart attack. I get a lot of chest infections, so every year without doubt I get severe chest infections, antibiotics, steroids, and I have an inhaler for the winter.
In my early 20s, I started to wheeze and was short of breath. A diagnosis of asthma followed with prescriptions for inhalers to try and manage it. And every winter for years, I would have debilitating chest infections, antibiotics and steroids. The other problems I had were later related to reflux, particularly cough, hoarse voice, recurrent sore throat, fatigue, etc.
When I was younger, I always found it more difficult running around than the children around me. I always felt that I was puffed out a bit easier. And recently I was diagnosed with restrictive lung disease, tracheomalacia and asthma.
Going to the doctors, and I'll go in and I'll say, oh, I've got this pain, could this be linked to me being a TOF? And so many of them go, what's TOF?
Unfortunately, in Australia, now as a 55-year-old woman, for me, there seems to be still a lack of understanding, knowledge and support of TOFs.
If I could change anything, it would be myself refusing to go to the GP and explaining all those symptoms. I thought, this is my life with OA TOF and I need to just put up with it.
I think on the whole, the sort of things that we just accept as adult, as TOFs as adults, a lot of other people would be at the doctors for a lot more, and I think that's one thing that I know from my experiences of all the other things is that I am now, I keep away because I feel I don't want to go with anything that feels like it might be considered by a doctor to be trivial, even if it's actually something that's quite serious.
I've had previous experiences where general practitioners weren't as familiar with TOF and the associated issues that I have, such as tracheomalacia, and thus I didn't receive the care that I am now receiving with a respiratory specialist.
I think the tendency to underplay symptoms is recognised in those who are born with complex anomalies, because it's our norm. We don't know any different, and the prospect of talking to a healthcare provider who does not view us holistically, who thinks these symptoms are not OA-TOF related, is daunting. Plus reluctance to face further medical investigations. We tend to turn away from the people who may be able to help us.
So, in terms of going to see health professionals, etc., as you can imagine, with a fairly checkered history that I have, it can be quite difficult, because essentially you have to continually go over the same story time and time again.
My mum said when I was born she didn't get any help. It was very much, here's your baby that's been in an incubator that we've fixed and mended. Don't give her any solid foods, and if you need any help, ring us. So she finds it fascinating that it's now a group of people, community, that can talk and raise concerns and ask questions, because she said she didn't have any of that. So that's really nice to see people's stories, and to ask people ask questions. And I've read a number of things that adults, and I'm like, oh, I have that, or I've experienced that. So it's that peace of mind that you're not on your own, because I don't know any other TOFs. I've never come into contact with any other people with TOF. So it's nice to have that community of people that you can share your stories, hear their stories, and just know people that are like you.
As I've got older, I think having friends and family who I can talk to and are accepting about it has helped, as well as finding other people such as myself through the TOF charity and the Facebook page, and going to the conferences. That's opened my mind in a way that has allowed me to learn to accept who I am, and means I can be open about it, which is fantastic.
You know, the TOFS charity has been absolutely amazing. I've learned so much from being connected to the community. I think the best thing was going along to the conference, and I'm a healthcare professional myself, as I think a lot of us are. I'm an occupational therapist, and I think I can honestly say that it's the best conference I've ever been to. The adult conference in Warrington a few years ago, just so well run with so many good speakers, but the best thing ever was walking into a room full of people who were all coughing like me. It was hilarious. It was like the cough was the song of my people, and I felt like I'd really connected with people who would understand how things were for me.
Being part of the TOFS community has been amazing. I've learned lots about my condition and have made some very special friendships along this journey. Realising you are not alone with this rare anomaly makes you stronger and more determined to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and knowing that together we can help improve health outcomes for all those born with OA-TOF.
My biggest achievement is that since I was 5 years old, my first day at school, I said I wanted to be a teacher, and I'm now in my 4th year of teaching, which is the best job in the world.
All I would say to anyone who's in a similar situation to myself, who is a TOF or the other symptoms, life can be a bit challenging. However, it doesn't stop you from being able to do what you want to do. I know I have, and anyone can.
I was very fortunate to attend a TOFS conference and met Professor Alan Maurice from Hull, and like others in the room, was introduced to the fact that those symptoms were likely to be caused by GORD associated with Oesophageal Atresia and dysmotility. It was a life changer for me, and I can never thank Professor Maurice enough for seeing me on a path of improved health. All in all, I am living my best life ever, despite being born with OA-TOF VACTERL.
Through understanding these conditions, now seeing a respiratory consultant, I've been able to treat them and manage them and understand them a lot better.
We need experts and a voice for old age care for esophageal atresia, and I'm hopeful that this video can help bring change for the adults of the future. Go TOFS!